Clover's Corner. I'm Claire and yep, once again it's been a while. Last time I checked on my computer, it said it was over 100 days since my last episode or upload. So that's not great. I apologize for that. Sometimes time just gets away from you. You look and you think it's been pretty recent since you uploaded and then turns out it's not. What's been going on? So, not much to report in my life, but update for Clover. So, Clover has become a bit of a scaredy cat. She has become pretty anxious. So, she is scared of wind. Basically, the sound of wind hitting the side of the house really freaks her out and she doesn't like it. And it just makes her completely panic to the point that she can't hear or listen to any commands that I give her. So I'll be like, Clover, stop, relax, it's okay. She can't hear me. She's too freaked out. We tried playing white noise. We tried putting a jacket on her. We tried cuddling her. Tried putting her outside, inside. She just freaks out too much. So after one night, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, of her not sleeping, we had to go to the vet and get her some anxiety medication. It's good though that it's not a daily medicine, like it's not a constant prescription kind of thing that you need. It's just when the dog needs it, which is good because they really work. So it was, I think, 2 a.m. and she hadn't really slept, but she had been like trying to settle down, and then she heard wind and she didn't sleep until I think it was 2 p.m. the next day. Like she was just so high strung, going crazy, not having a good time. So the medicine definitely worked. She's funny though, like some things that should freak her out don't, and then the things that shouldn't do. So what can you do? She's just a small dog. I get it though, from what I've googled, the air pressure changing and the wind makes it she can't hear certain things or other sounds are heightened. So I guess that makes sense. If you're a small dog, it would really mess with you. But she seems to be doing better. And I got a trainer for her. When was it? Would have been a few months ago now, because she's just like, when this is common, but when a dog is a puppy, they're friends with pretty much every other dog for no reason. And as she's gotten older, she still has a lot of friends that are dogs and she can get along with. But at a park or on a walk, she was getting a little bit reactive. Not aggressive, but to people who don't understand dog body language and communication and skills like that, it seems aggressive. But she'd never attack a dog or bite them, but she just barks a lot and kind of gets in the dog's face when she's feeling unsafe. So I got her a trainer, and basically the trainer told me that I wasn't tough enough on her. Basically, I coddle her and baby her too much, and because of that she thinks she owns the world and rules the house. But now, pleased to say, she has improved probably 80 to 85%. So now on a walk, if there's another dog or something, she sees it, she will bark, but if I go, Clover, no, enough, or whatever, and just stand there, she'll stop and just watch the dog walk past. So that's a huge improvement. It used to just be constant barking all the time at the park or on a walk, and it was like just loud and disruptive, but now she's really good. And when she was younger, she was really good off leash, and then she had a few mishaps with other dogs where they chased her out of an area, or like not attacked, but like came up to her and spooked her or whatever. And because of that, I think that kind of scared her and didn't make her feel safe. So we've been practicing. Now she can be off leash in certain situations. Like, I'm not going to walk her off leash in a busy suburb or populated area, but if it's like a small dog oval and there's no fence and I'm throwing a ball, she's focused and she'll come back to me. I wouldn't just walk her without a leash though. Even people who do that when their dog is like completely in control, I don't trust it. It just feels unsafe to me. But yeah, she's definitely improved with that, and she's a lot more confident. I've got 2 leashes, so I would definitely recommend this if your dog is reactive, but get a long line. It's about 5 meters long leash, and it gets them comfortable with feeling like they're not on a leash, but you're still in control. and I also have like one that's like a seatbelt, so I can be hands-free, but the dog is attached to me. And so they feel like they're off leash, but they're still next to you. And I found that really helpful because she doesn't feel like she's being restrained, but she still can't just do whatever she wants. So it's really good. So what's been happening? Well, I almost dropped my phone. So what's been happening in the world? I didn't know this following thing from how do I word that? Last episode, if you asked me what this thing was, I wouldn't have known what it is. Or what it was. Whatever. Now it's a new obsession, and that is Labubu. If you're unfamiliar with Labubu, I'll just show you what it is. This is a Labubu. It's a little keychain guy. And Pop Mart sells them, and they're pretty damn expensive for what they are, and I'm fully addicted now. So, I didn't even realize, you might not be able to see it in the background, but I've got the monsters, like, figurines. I didn't realize it was a series or anything. I was just like, oh, cute. I love Coca-Cola, and it's like a little figurine with the Coca-Cola thing. But then I found out there is a shop called Pop Mart, and it's basically toys for adults, but not in the way that you're thinking. It's more like, I guess, classy or bougie version of a toy. And people dress them up and things like that, but it's more so the sacredity of it, because it's like, you don't know what you're getting because it's a blind box, and you get 1 out of 7 potential toys of a certain thing usually, or 1 of 20, or whatever the number is, and there's usually a secret. So the one I have here is Baba, and I paid way too much for it on Depop. But this one is what people on Reddit are calling potato. This is a Lafufu, a fake Labubu. And as you can see, not at all alike. If I were to show you like this, what a real one. Whoops, sorry, bumped the mic. If I were to show you what a real one and a fake one would look like next to each other, this is real, this is fake. Pretty obvious when you got one and you put it next to each other, but when you haven't had one, you're like, oh, it could be passable. It's not really. So the sacredity of it is also that on the bottom of their feet there's a light, well, there's like a sticker, and if you put a UV light on it, it tells you if it's real or not. It comes with a QR code for authenticity and stuff. This is quite clearly a fake. So you can see the stitching is pretty bad around the head. Hairline receding, and the eyes are scratched underneath the plastic somehow, and there's like a sparkle effect and freckles, which this Labubu shouldn't have. It's got the correct amount of teeth, but what's really funny is there's an indent of where they were going to put a 10th tooth, and Labubu's only have 9. And so they were just like, we'll just colour it in flesh coloured and it'll be fine. Which is really funny, because it's like, you tried, sort of. No, there's like, it's still really cute, that's why I have it, but people on Reddit are saying it should be called potato. Also, to make it feel not left out, I put a little bow on its keychain because I felt bad for it. But yeah, the actual eyes underneath somehow are scratched. And whatever paper they use is bad ink, because it's completely out. But this Lafufu is decently cute. There are some ugly ass Lafufus that I've seen, and it's like really sad. On the bottom of these though, this one, there's like some melted like plastic or something, and it's still cute. It's just funny because once you've got a real one, you're like, this would never be a Labubu. No, but it's actually crazy. It's like getting a concert ticket. So you go on Pop Mart to go get a Labubu, and it's like, click on it, you go to the checkout, and it's missing. It's crazy. So like all the tickets for a concert, how it just evaporates, is the same thing. You try and get Labubu, it's gone before you know it. And the resale value is fucking nuts. It's actually crazy. It'll be like, they're supposed to be $32, and then you pay like $95 to get one that you already know what it is, which is crazy. So something else I want to talk about is my girl Lorde. She's back. She's got a new album. It's been out for, let's see, a month now. It's called Virgin. No joke, probably... Ooh, it's tough to say. I would put that... It's hard for me because there's not an album of hers that I don't like, but this is the most her album, I think. Like, this is really her. And if you're unfamiliar with Lorde, people who only know, like, her singles, they're like, what is wrong with her? She's gone off the rest. No, this is her fully being who she wants to be. And this album is incredibly vulnerable. I recommend you listen to it, but it's just unexpected. There are so many references to sex that are so visceral and, like, in your face that I was, like, not expecting. That I was like, oh, okay, you just wanted to tell me that. Cool. I'm fine with too much information, but some people, it's like, Jesus. But the whole vibe of the album is it's, like, see-through, clear, vulnerable, all those things. I will say, though, I don't know who's in charge of her merch, along with a lot of artists lately. But the merch game is lacking. It's like, you either get a Gildan brand tee that shrinks after one wear, but the design is really cool, or you get a really shit design on quality material, and it's like, can't we just, have both? It's really sad. Like, the hemp material jumper I have, of like sweatshirt jumper I've got from the Solar Power album and tour, that is going to outlive me. It's made out of hemp. It's not going to fall apart. But then sometimes you get a shirt from a singer or musician's merch line, and you just know it's going to shrink as you start wearing it. So I don't think people realize this, but when it comes to minimalist band merch or like singer merch, whatever, we don't want minimalist merch unless it's like campy. Like, people love Brat by Charlie XCX, so do I. If she made it a little bit better quality, all the things she was selling, it would be very campy and funny because it's just like one word, bright green, on a tote bag or a t-shirt. But when the material is bad, it's just like, it just feels like you're ripping us off. And it kind of is. So, up your game with that one. If you know anything about me, you also know my favourite TV show of all time is Law & Order SVU. And Mariska Hargitay released her first documentary where she produced it, directed it, did it all. And it's called My Mom Jayne. And it genuinely hurt my heart a lot to see it. So, if you don't know, Mariska Hargitay, she was born from starlet called Jayne Mansfield. And if you're anything like me, you had no idea who Jayne Mansfield was before you heard of Mariska Hargitay. But that's okay. If you're born in the 90s or later, no one's expecting you to know who she is. But she was a very, like, how do I explain it? So she was very much like a Marilyn Monroe type in Hollywood, where everyone just puts her down to blonde hair, big boobs, and that's it. Like, that's her category. That's all she needs to do. But Jayne Mansfield was actually incredibly smart and intelligent, and she was a classically trained violinist and pianist. And Hollywood didn't give her the time of day for that, because in the 50s, all you could be is a bimbo, basically, in Hollywood. That's all they would put you up to. So she was this very famous starlet, and she died when Mariska Hargitay was 3. So this documentary is kind of her going through that and explaining and learning her mum's legacy and history. And also, spoiler alert, I would skip this part if you don't want it to be spoiled to her. Her dad, Mickey Hargitay, is and was a bodybuilder. And so they were like this power couple of like two sex symbols, like incredibly good looking couple. Turns out he is not Mariska Hargitay's dad. She thought her whole life that was her dad, and then a fan of Jayne Mansfield told her that it wasn't her dad, and this documentary goes into who knew, who didn't know, why did no one tell her, like, just where does the secret lie? And then you see her real father in the documentary, and it's like, wow, those two look exactly the same. And there's a whole story about why she didn't know, but it's fascinating. And it also just shows how far we've come as a society with women in Hollywood and show business, because Mariska Hargitay was always like, I don't want to be seen as how my mum was, I want to be more than that. And then as an adult, she's like, I completely get it, it was a different time. And she did what she had to do, and she was still iconic and a star. And she probably wanted to be treated differently, honestly, but she just played the game of Hollywood and kept it pushing. And the documentary is just so good because you could see all the memorabilia and all the memories that were uncovered. And, like, if you've ever had anything traumatic like that in your life when it happened at such a young age, you probably have the wires crossed. Like, you think you remember some things, but then other things you don't know if it's a memory or if you imagined it or whatever. So having her family explain to her the tragedy that happened and her life growing up, it was, like, really interesting to see. I also didn't know that Mickey Hargitay's plants is not her dad's plant shop, it's her brother's. It's Mickey Hargitay Jr., which I was like, oh, I always assumed it was her dad's shop. That was another thing, though, Mickey Hargitay not being her dad kind of freaked me out, because I was like, I always thought they looked extremely alike. But turns out they are not. Another thing. So, Squid Games Season 3 has concluded. The show's finished. It was kind of a letdown. Am I allowed to say that? I still enjoyed it. Still worth watching. But Season 1, if it ended on just an open-ended thing, I think that'd be really interesting. But it kind of fizzled out all the ways you would expect. But something I did want to mention is there's a really funny CGI baby. And you get used to it after a while, but it is just really uncanny the first time you see it. And it makes me think about the fact that you can't really win when it comes to a newborn on a TV show or a movie, because you can't use a newborn, because that's just way too weird, because it's like, why are we putting a baby in the spotlight straight away out the womb? That's weird. But then if you use any other baby of any other age, people are going to say it doesn't look like a newborn, because newborns don't look like that. It always looks too old to be a newborn, and they're way too clean. But then if you use a CGI baby, everyone goes, that's not what a baby looks like, that's too uncanny valley. So there's not really a solution to that. But I always think you could get maybe a born again doll and only show like the side of their face, or just not show the baby at all, because you just can't win. I can tell you so many times I've seen a baby in a movie or a TV show, I'm like, that is the biggest newborn I've ever seen in my life. That's like a 1-year-old. And that's just ridiculous. But that's like the Olsen twins. I gotta Google that. How old were they in Full House when they started? How old were the Olsen twins when Full House started? 9 months old. Yeah, so that's actually insane. Oh, they were casted at 6 months old and began filming at 9. That is nuts. Like, that's actually like family vlogger like style. I don't know, that's too much. Because you can't expect them to know their lines. They can only have a few words at a time. And that's why there was 2 of them playing one character. Also because they're twins. But it's just like, that's pretty nutty to have a baby that young in show business. I'm sure that, like, in the 1800s, at those, like, freak show circus things, they probably had newborns that were conjoined as a sideshow thing, which is unfortunate. So something else I wanted to talk about is I have always wanted to release my own music. Not even necessarily for, like, notoriety or anything. It's just, like, a personal thing, like a personal goal that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to release something, even if it's just for me. But once you start writing music, you realize how hard it is. Not just making a song and finishing it or whatever, but every time I hear a song, I'm like, fuck, I wish I wrote that song. Why didn't I write that? And then every time I go to write a song, I'm like, it's not as good. It's not as good as that. But then when you finish it, there is a sense of accomplishment. I have released one song. It's from there's a dog at my door. It's from over a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I released it on Spotify because I just wanted it to be out there. And I'm going to keep working towards that goal of writing stuff. But it's like the opposite of imposter syndrome. It's not like you've got all this success and you don't think you deserve it. It's more like, I can't obtain what I want. I can't make the thing I want. But it's like, I can hear it in my head how I want it to sound, but I can't get there. Hang on, I'm going to get the dog. Alright, so the dog wants my attention. So I'm going to cut it short now. So thank you so much for listening and watching. I will catch you next time. Bye!